All right, good evening, everybody, once again, and good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Yes, it is a wonderful time for us once again to come, especially the first edition of our knowledge sharing session, which we have since planned for, and today we are going to kickstart it off. And I believe what we are going to do is something that is going to enhance our growth, both individually and also as an organization. So today we are going to start with the first topic that we have planned, which is about personal effectiveness and also time management. Yeah, so today that is what we are going to look at in earnest, personal effectiveness. We will see why it is important that we need to be effective in whatever we are doing and how we can be able to manage and prioritize our time very well. So I will commence by sharing my screen so that everyone will follow through whatever we are going to do. So just a second while I go to my screen now. Okay, just a second. Okay. Just a second. Okay, while the slide is trying to come up, just as I have said, our topic for discussion today is personal effectiveness and time management. So can you all see my slide? Can you all see my slide now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we see the screen.
Okay, that's fine.
We're just seeing the screen with your desktop. There is no slide.
Okay. Let me work that out. But on my own here, it is. Okay, let me stop sharing so that I can share it again. Since it is not showing there, let me stop sharing.
Yeah, open it up and leave it on your desktop. And then when you go to, okay, now it's showing.
Okay, it is showing now.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. Once again, we are going to commence without much delay because much of our time has gone. As we have seen on the slide here that our topic for discussion today is personal effectiveness and time management habits. Over time, individuals, organizations, and even the society itself, a lot of people have struggled on how to enhance their effectiveness in whatever they are doing. Reason being that there are little things which we always fail to do that set us back in whatever we do, and that hinders our success that we should have obtained from just the resources that are at our disposal. So we are going to know what personal effectiveness is, why it is important, and some things we need to do that can help us in this particular aspect of our lives. Now, here it says, what is personal effectiveness? What is personal effectiveness? If this subject is not, or this topic is not very important for us to discuss, a lot of people wouldn't have placed such priority on it as it is today. So from here, we understand that personal effectiveness has to do with making the most of all personal resources at your disposal. That is our personal talents, energy, and time relative to what is most important to us. This concluding part is one aspect I am always so particular about, relative to what is most important to us. This simply means that we can try to be effective in things that doesn't really bring much gain to the organization or even to us as an individual. So that is why whenever we are considering the meaning and the usefulness of personal effectiveness, this ending part is always very important. I want to recap it. I say that personal effectiveness means making the most of all personal resources at our disposal. It can be your personal talents, the energy, as your strength, your time. Since morning, you've been in the office, you've been going here, you've been going there. How many problems have you been able to solve? What have you been able to do within this period that you have? And the resources that are available to you, both that are inborn and also the ones that have been given to you by the organization, relative to what is most important. I think that was last year, yeah. Early last year, when I took this issue of personal effectiveness so seriously about myself, at some point, I saw that there were a few things which I was not really doing as I was supposed to do. Why? Because
18 to 20.
Because I never saw it that most of the things I was really engaging myself were not as important as I think. To me, I thought, oh, I was doing everything. But later when I realized that there are some things I need to cut off, and there are some things that I need to focus, which bring growth both to me and to other things that I was doing. So personal effectiveness made me understand a lot about this particular angle. So why? The question is, why do we need this training? Just as I am asking, I know everybody is asking the same question to himself. Why do we need this training? He said, personal effectiveness creates success, both to individuals and organizations. So, have to be a star performer. We don't just need only degree and medals, but also self-improvement. We don't need just people who go obtain degrees, do all sorts of things, but we need people who can improve themselves. Our collective effort, our collective learnings every day are what really propel us to get into the greatest heights that we can ever get to. There are a lot of people who think, oh, they will get someone that will always sit down like this to take them through things they need to know. When you ask someone, do you know about these things? Say, no, someone has never taught me. But personal effectiveness enables us to understand that we need to prioritize our self-improvement. And when we are talking about self-improvement, it is not about going or someone else taking responsibility over you, but you taking responsibility of what you want to become, what you want to achieve, and how and when you want to get all these things. So personal effectiveness will create success to us as individuals and also as an organization, and will make us to become star performers. If you are in an organization, if you are in a society where people need problem solvers, where people need great ideas, that simply means there is a gap that needs to be filled. Not everyone has this knowledge. Most of this knowledge are hidden somewhere, and it will take you time to go search it by yourself. Yeah, there may be people who have that knowledge that you need to meet, but for you, okay, for instance, the knowledge you need to solve a particular problem in your community or in our organization now, the person that can provide this solution to you is not even in Nigeria. Let's say he's in America. And you can't go to the, there is no how we want to bring the person to here to tutor you one-on-one. That is where self-improvement comes in. You use your time to search for that information. You may even get across courses that this person have written before. You may get across seminars he has hosted before, and from there you will learn a lot of things from it. So it's not the person that went looking for you to tell you that, oh, I have the solution to that problem that you have in your organization or in your community, but you are the one that made it as a priority and sought for it. And in the end, you were able to solve that. And solving a problem gives you confidence that, oh, I have done something before and I can do it again. That enhances your self improvement. Now, if we want to start our personal effectiveness journey, there are steps we need to follow. There are things we need to do that will really give us a clear guide on whatever we are going to gain, either as an organization or as an individual. Why am I using an organization? The collective efforts of every individual in every organization is what determines the growth of that organization. So if you have staff, if you have a team that is not performing, definitely the organization itself is not going to perform. But if you have individuals who are performing, they can equally come together as a team, and that will enhance your growth also as an organization. So that is why whenever we are talking about personal effectiveness, despite the fact that we hear personal, but it still goes in pari passu with what the organization aims to achieve. So number one, you need to define your purpose. If you want to go into a journey of personal effectiveness, you want to make this a habit, you need to define your purpose. Why do you need to define your purpose? Because with a clear purpose, your everyday life will have a clear direction. Defining your purpose here, let me just make it in short. You need to know the things that excite you every day, which we call passion. Those things that excite you every day. Because it has been proven, and no matter how a lot of people will keep on doubting this, that not really everything that you are passionate about that can make you succeed. But it has been proven that if you work in the area of your passion, you are tend to achieve more than someone who is just looking out for a great work, but is not passionate about it. For example, like some of you know, or yeah, some of you know, I studied mechanical engineering in school. But even while in school, I never saw myself really doing great engineering works, not because I wasn't doing well. I was actually doing very well in school, but the passion for engineering wasn't there. Someone may ask, why did you study engineering? You know our country, what happens, how jam it's all about. So that is a topic for another day, which maybe one day I'll share with us. I studied engineering, but then I wasn't so passionate about it. I will go to classes. You see me at times dressed on suit in an engineering class. In fact, our classmate will be like, guy, are you sure you belong to this place? How can I? Because everybody believes that, oh, as an engineering student, when you are coming to the school, you should be on gym just with your polo one. But my lifestyle was entirely different. It wasn't really much of that engineer kind of life. It shows that I wasn't too passionate about it. And what helped me was I was able to discover this very early before our final year, that this is what I was passionate about. And immediately I started working toward my area of passion. And immediately I went toward this direction of human resource. The rest has been history. I have been doing whatever I do with passion and have been seeing great results in it. So that is how most of us are. Some people are just going through things they never want to do, but they just want to do just because they want to earn a living. So after your passion, you should do things that would also make you to profit from them. So as you are defining your purpose, in the end, it should be something that, okay, I will be able to profit from them, because your purpose should also earn you a living. Yeah, your purpose in life should earn you a living. Your purpose should also give you a level of power, confidence when to approach people, to solve problems with confidence that, oh, yes, I know this thing. I have the required knowledge to tackle a particular thing like this. So if you know these kind of things in your life, that is your purpose at this moment, you will be able to start prioritizing things that are going to help you in this particular journey. So after understanding your or defining your purpose, what then should you do? You have to take action. You take action. From the slide, you can see the word act, which is ACT. I have been able to bring out some things here, which is action changes things. If you were doing things before that, or you were just in your room wishing as a wishful thinker that this is what I'm supposed to get, by next year, our organization is supposed to be ranked as #1 international NGO when it comes to entrepreneurship, development, and so, and you are still sitting down, you are not doing anything, definitely that year will come and meet us here and nothing will still happen. So we need to take action after understanding our purpose, what we are aiming for. Why? Because we don't need to wait for the perfect time. We need to start working on the tasks. As they always say, delay can be dangerous. So all of us should be action takers, not just to be wishful thinkers. Then the next thing we have to do is to do it now. We don't need to procrastinate. If you look at this picture that I portrayed here, these are most of the excuses that we always have that cause us to procrastinate. Number one, we go to, okay, we say, this thing is like, I'll do it later, or I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not sure if I can even be able to do it. I'm doing this thing for the first time. Will it work? Okay, for that reason, let's wait till next week. I'm so tired. I just left the office now. Today, a lot of things has been on my table. Okay, let me just do it after this one. Or we still have a lot of time. Our target is in 10 years time. Let's do it next year. Or finally you say, oh, I'll do it some days. This is how we keep on shifting tasks we are supposed to have finished so that we go to others. The issue there is, why do we wait for tomorrow? What we can do today, find a long-lasting solution to the problem. Review your priorities and don't postpone it. We just need to review our priorities. What needs to be done today? Let us ensure that we get it out of our way. And there is one psychological aspect of killing procrastination. If you are able to kill procrastination, one thing that it is going to help you achieve is that you are going to be more confident in yourself. You are going to be more confident in yourself. You will be respected by people. You will be trustworthy. Not for if you are a kind of person that they know, oh, even if we say you should come so that we'll do something like this, the next thing is you are going to give us a call that I can't make it today. Please, can we make the meeting tomorrow? No, if you are that kind of a person, you will lose your sense of self-worth, even within yourself, before moving into others. And the way you regard yourself at times happens that is how people are going to treat you also. So we need to also have focus. We need to have focus. In the aspect of personal effectiveness, focus is very important, because effectiveness here, as we have explained, that it has to do with you making the most use of the resources available to you, your talent, your energy, your time. That is more important to what you want to achieve. So if you don't focus on that thing that you want to achieve, definitely you are going to miss it. You can see from this picture, we have other black arrows, but we have a particular red arrow in between or in the middle, which shows us that no matter how many things that looks the same that we are looking at the moment, our focus should be on that one which has been identified, which is our major focus. We need to make some commitments to a task and make full engagement of it, or we need to be fully engaged into it. We always say that when you put the word focus in a horizontal or in a vertical form, you see number one, which is the focus itself is follow one course until you are successful. Follow one course until you are successful. So let's proceed. The next one is here is stop multitasking. Yeah, this is in line with the focus. Today, even in the organizations, in our personal life, everybody will tell you, I need people who can multitask. I have the opportunity to always review a lot of CVs every day. And one of the skill that people always write is, so I can multitask, I can do this, I can do that. But the truth remains that, yes, I know bosses want people to multitask. Everybody wants you to multitask, but psychologically, multitasking is not as effective as you following a particular thing until you finish it. Do each thing as if you are doing nothing else. Juggling multitasking, multiple tasks has its own limit and leads to many things started and nothing finished. I don't think there is anybody that can argue with me in this point that multitasking really delay us from getting things done at times. Now on your system, you have opened a lot of folders, you are working here, working here, working here. And one thing with our brain is the way our brain works is our brain focuses on a particular task at every time. There is no how you can switch your brain for it to be working on several tasks at a particular time. So once you leave this one, you go here, your brain has switched already to that thing. So it doesn't focus on the thing you were doing before. And that is how you are delaying the process. You are delaying the performance of your brain. So it is advisable that you focus on a particular task from the beginning to the end. Once you finish that, then move into another one. After which you move into one, you will see that you will be happy with yourself. You have the energy. You do a lot of things. You will even achieve more than you are supposed to achieve when you are multitasking. Then also you need to set deadlines. You should be able to set deadlines. This one, I don't need to talk too much on it. You have to establish a due date. Establishing a due date is a good way of managing your time. If you have to deliver a particular project to a group of people or to an organization, ensure you work with that deadline, and also always try to make your deadlines to be before the actual deadline that you've been given, so that you have time to review what you have done. You have time to cross your T's and dot your I's. Next one is for you to stop checking emails that often. This particular angle, I have been a culprit for a very long time until I discovered before. Whenever I'm in the office, my email is always on 24 hours, just like my WhatsApp. So whenever you drop a message, I must always see it. Immediately you drop a message on my mailbox, I must always see it. And this makes me attempt to delay my work, because a message may come in that ordinarily, I didn't see it at that moment, I shouldn't have attended to it until the appropriate time. But because I'm seeing them as they are coming in, it makes me to keep on attending to most of them, which is not supposed to be so. So you have to set a schedule to check your email. Emails are one of the biggest productivity killers that gets you distracted in completing a task. Take an action after every mail. Delete unnecessary ones. A lot of us, as I'm talking now, I know that our mailbox are already filled up. You read emails, even if they are not important, you still leave them. Always clear them off. Always clear those ones that are not important. And also ensure that anyone you have read, mark it as read, so that you won't go back to it, except it is very important, which you can always star it as important or make it as an achieved, so that whenever you need important messages, you go to your star the messages. Then the next one is we need to prioritize. When you prioritize all the important stuff, you will get them done. Yeah, here is you spend your time on things that have an outcome that lead to achievement of your goal. I think while I was explaining the previous points I've touched here, focus on things that will set you to achieving your goal, not necessarily everything that is in front of you. Also, don't confuse urgent with importance. You should not confuse urgent with importance. In the matrix of time management, we know that we have things that are important. We have things that are also urgent. At the same time, we have 4 quadrants that can help us to explain this thing more. The very first quadrant here is urgent and important. These are the things you should always focus your time on. That means you need to do it at that particular moment, because if you don't do that, it is going to affect you. So things that are urgent and are important, we need to do them. The second quadrant here says not urgent but important. There are things that are not urgent but important. For instance, your personal growth. You want to enroll for a course. It is very important, but it's not urgent. What do you have to do? You need to plan about it. Because you want to enroll in a course, that doesn't mean you have a task to perform now that you have to send to someone and you say, no, I want to subscribe for a course. Then that is a misplaced priorities. So you have to plan over that one. Then the third quadrant here is urgent but not important. There are some things that come to us, like someone just call you, oh, please, I need someone to help me get this thing across to a friend. Those things are urgent, but they are not important. That person wants to use it at that moment, but it's not important that you must do it. What do? You delegate. You can call someone, oh, please come and help me send this thing to this particular person. You have to delegate those kind of things. Responsibilities you know are not very important, always try to delegate them. It will help you to save much of your time. And also the last quadrant is not urgent and not important. Here, you don't need to delay anything, you just eliminate them. If you look in your life now, you will see that a lot of people are filled with most of these things. They are not urgent and they are not important. You go on Facebook, you start chatting people that have never, you don't even have any connection with them. It is not urgent whether you need to chat those people. You just say, okay, I want to say hi, or I want to say this. They are not important, neither are they urgent. Just eliminate those kind of habits because they waste our time. So very often, activities that demand immediate attention are less important tasks that can be attended to later or even dropped out. That is like a summary of this time management metrics. Some of them demand less time, or we can even eliminate them in totality. I hope all of us are following. I believe you can all hear me clearly. Please, if you can hear me, just unmute yourself and let me know, or you drop it.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes, I can hear you too.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, the next one here, we need to write things down. Every day we have our experiences in the office, where we go to within our mind. We think of different things, how to solve problems, how to do new things. Try to document them. Why? Because our brains are not a book. They can always forget at a particular time. So once a very important idea comes to you, ensure that you write it down. That is why I developed this habit of keeping journals of activities that happen to me every day. Once I get from in the morning, as I get to the office, I have a jotter outside my to-do list that as I'm working, whenever I'm thinking about a particular thing that I know I may need this thing that just came into my mind, I just write it down. But whenever you go back to this particular book to see things you have written down before, it will amaze you. Wow, so at some point I've ever thought of this, and this is the challenge I'm facing now. That helps you because our brain just works like a computer. It's just that our brains are still more than a computer. It gives us solutions to almost all our problems. It's just that sometimes we don't pay much attention to it. So writing things help us to remember, and yes, to remember, and also for reference purposes also. You also have to use a weekly planner. We adopted a particular weekly plan in our office here where I work now, that every Monday as you come to work, you have to submit your plan for the week. You submit your plan for the week. Outside that plan for the week, you still have to have your own to-do list. Okay, what am I supposed to do from this time, Whenever you have achieved one, you take it, oh, I'm done with this one. You take it, I'm done with this one. So this help you to get not to fill yourself with activities that are less important, because things that will come on this weekly planner are going to be things that are relevant to you achieving success in what you want to do. So you have to put your goals in perspective and plan in advance. If you are able to do this, you are already close to your achieving your personal effectiveness level at the peak. Also, organize your stuff. Why? Because if you know where to find something, you will feel much in control of your work, which leads to great productivity. This doesn't apply only to the organizational setting. It applies also to your home. Remember, when you know that, okay, this particular thing, this is where it can be found, you are always so confident that whenever you need it, whether in the middle of the night, you just wake up, you go and pick it up. But if it is something you don't know where you kept it, maybe when you just entered the house, you just threw it somewhere, definitely locating it is always going to be an issue, and this will keep on wasting your time. So you need to organize your stuff and be punctual also. When you have meetings to attend, ensure to always be punctual. Going to work, ensure to be punctual. Last minute is always stressful. Without effective scheduling and proper organization, you hardly manage to be on time, and this will often affect your credibility. Yes, this is very true. If you are known for always showing up in meetings late, definitely you are going to lose your credibility in that in the face of all those people that are there. Whenever you are going to say, this one, we know him now, this is the time he has been coming, he will never come here early. Maybe the day you will try and come early, everybody will be shocked. Are you sure this is you? God, maybe, okay, let's watch and see what is going to happen. Why? Because they don't know you as someone who is punctual. So we need to take this as one of the points we must improve in if we really want to prioritize our personal effectiveness. We should also make the most of our meetings. Meetings are known to be the biggest time wasters. Make sure you get a clear agenda for every meeting. This clarifies your purpose and aids effective contribution. So don't go and waste all your time on meetings. Don't go and repeat what another person has said. Once you know that your point has been made by another person, just allow it to die off and you move on to the next agenda. Also, schedule the way you read news. For those of us that like reading news, please, you don't need to spend all your time reading news, even if it is I know of a man who, yes, he's working, but his work is remote and this gives him time. So his television is always on 24 hours. While he's doing whatever he's doing, he's still watching the television. He knows everything that is happening. And this will always affect your productivity level. Even if you are working remotely, this shouldn't make you think, oh, I'm not in the office, so there are some etiquette that I'm going to throw off. No. You don't need to. All of them are still very important. You have to work the same way. So spending too much time reading the news is a waste of time with things that we cannot influence and are irrelevant to our goals. Just the little time you have, check what is happening today and close up, because most of those things at times we don't even have a direct influence over them. So and we have been advised by a lot of people who have done several works on personal effectiveness that we should not focus more on things we cannot influence, but on things that we can influence. Also, we need to take a break. Yeah, this is another angle that we think is a weakness, but it's not a weakness. Whenever we take a break after much tasks, it helps us to re-strategize. It brings back our energy because, like now, as I'm speaking, if I should speak, let's say, because some trainings takes up to 3 hours, and you burn energy for 3 hours consistently without even taking a break, it brings you low. It affects your brain. The way you think is going to be different. The way you react to situations is going to be different. Even the ideas that come out from you are going to be different at that moment. So when you take a break, it help you to get yourself back refreshed and move on again. So it is most impossible for anyone to focus and produce high quality work without giving their brain some time to rest and recharge. So this is very important. We need to eat healthy. I know the economy doesn't really, to some people, doesn't give them this aspect of this, but even at that, we can never rule it out. It is something that is very important. Regardless, our health is the most important thing we need to cherish because that's our greatest treasure. Without having good health, all the wealth we think we want to accumulate, we are going nowhere. If employees of an organization are all not feeling good, definitely there is nothing the organization is going to do. And at that moment, a lot of things are going to be on standstill. So the cause of it here is what we need to tackle, not for us to wait until when it happens before we react. So junk food is responsible for draining your energy level. Choose a meal that actually helps fuel your body and helps your performance through the day. A lot of people, especially we bachelors, at times we are tempted, maybe, oh, I can't wait to go and cook, despite me, I can cook. Oh. That one, I don't joke with it. I spend time to cook, but most times because there are things you feel, oh, I don't just need to wait over this, just go and get anything, come and eat. Most of them affect our health. And some the repercussion comes immediately, but some are in a long term. They accumulate, and when they show up, it becomes so bad that we can't handle them any longer. So we need to be very careful with things of this nature. Also, we should exercise more. Physical exercise has a performance effect on your energy, happiness, and also well-being. It can help you to relax, increase your brain power, and improve your body. Please, everybody, learn to exercise. Exercise is not just for you to go and run. Even inside your room, just do some pull-ups in the morning, just do this, shake your body. Anyhow, you know you can be able to increase your body pressure. That is exercise. When you increase your body pressure, you ensure that, oh, your normal breathing pressure is increased. So when it comes down, your blood flow at that moment is going to, your blood is going to flow more rapidly and faster than it was before. And also, it now brings you to a stable situation after everything. So it's not until you go and run, even walking for an hour, just to walk around your compound and do other things is another good way. Get enough sleep. This is the angle I am, at times I get caught off. If not for today, this week, I've not really had much sleep, but I try because I know how important it is. Even if some days I don't get enough sleep, but I still ensure that this doesn't reoccur. If it happens once in a week, I say, okay, but other, I try to get enough sleep because less sleep leads to less energy through the day and takes a substantial toll on cognitive performance and productivity. People who don't sleep much, they hardly bring out great ideas in a discussion. This has been proven. You can always go and find out this. People who hardly sleep, they hardly have great conversations that bring in-depth analysis of what they are talking about. Why? Because they, when we sleep, our brains washes out all the toxicity that we have already accumulated at that moment. So once this is out of you, you are able to use the inner part of your brain, both in thinking, in execution, and many things. So getting enough sleep is very important. And also, what else do we have to do? We need to become early risers. I developed a habit that at least if I go to bed early, I should try to wake up early, because I discovered that I was having a lot of books to read, but I have limited time. So I gave myself a target that if I can be able to read at least 15 minutes every day before going to work, this will be very helpful to me. Just 15 minutes every day before going to work. So I try as much as possible, because I resume in the office by 8 o'clock. So I wake up by 5:30, read between, let's say, 5:30, yes, from 5:30 to 5:45. Then by 6 o'clock, I know that I'm done with that one. Do whatever I want to do. Before 7 o'clock, I'm off to work. So if you are an early riser, it helps you to be productive, because you are already prepared for the day. You'll be able to think of things you are going to do all through the day. But if you just woke up late already, you just take your bed, you go to work, you will get there and you won't even realize that, oh, you've not planned for all the activities you need to achieve that particular day. Now, in conclusion, this is what I will say. This is the time that we need to reinvent ourselves. And that is where the word try comes in. We need to try, that it is the time that we need to reinvent ourselves. So by us, we need to keep striving to be the best we can. Keep practicing. The key to good personal effectiveness consists in the habits you develop. We need to act responsibly. It is our time, and you are 100% in charge of how you spend it. So personal effectiveness as a whole has to do with how we manage everything that is to that has been given to us, that is to our that is at our disposal and at that moment. So it is our time for us to ensure that we make good use of it, and ensure that 100% of our resources are utilized very well, so that we will achieve our success. Why? Because it is the measure of our success that really help us to understand that, oh, we have been able to get something from all the efforts that we have been putting on a particular task, either in a day, in a week, as the time frame may be. So at this point, I want to thank all of us that have been present in this series, and I hope from the little that we have already gained from where we started about personal effectiveness, what personal effectiveness is all about, that we need to by it has to do with making effective. I mean, personal effectiveness means making the most of all personal resources at our disposal. After which, we also saw why the training, why the topic is very important to us. We saw how we need to start this journey of personal effectiveness. We went through a series of activities that can help us to ensure that our time is properly and well utilized. So I want to thank all of us, and I believe that we have learned one or two things. So at this moment, I am going to throw the room open for questions and comments from anybody that have any, as I will also ensure that if you have something that you think you didn't understand clearly while I was explaining, I think we still have a few minutes to do that. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate your audience. Thank you once again.
Okay. Thank you, Obeten. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Some of the things you've mentioned already are it's so critical. You know, it's like you were basically analyzing my life and some of the things I like to do. Because of workload and so many things I'm handling at the moment, sometimes I don't get as much sleep as I would like to. Although I know better, I know that I need to get my 8 hours sleep. But sometimes when I go, I may drop off and get 3-4 hours, and then suddenly my brain is like, there's still some things you didn't do yet.
Yeah.
Suddenly wake up and then I'm busy doing that, and then I fall back asleep. So it kind of messes up my sleep. But yeah, I echo many of the personal development tips that you have shared with us. I think if we can do this, we should actually make a reminder for ourselves to practice this as a team and report on them on a regular basis. The proper nutrition, hydration. I didn't hear you mention about hydration. That's just as important as food.
Exactly.
You need to have your bottle of water or whatever you like to drink, coffee, tea, juice.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you have they say 8 glasses of liquid through the day, right?
Yes, that is very true. Thank you for the great addition. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, I would also like to hear from others. You can share what you have learned, or if you have questions, we can appreciate it so that it will make us understand that it was an interactive session, not just a one-sided approach. If we have learned something that we think we can also portray on it, you can rephrase it to your own so that you even help others to understand the more. So let's hear from us.
Okay, Obeten, thank you very much for this session. It's actually a session that has built my capacity as a person. And those things you mentioned, they are things that really, just like Madam said, these are things that we know that these are things that we need to take, things we need to do to be productive. And one of the areas you talk about is this personal effectiveness. I mean, your personal care, taking care of yourself personally actually improves productivity, because if you don't take care of yourself, or you don't do that which will help you personally, it is actually difficult for you to be productive or putting anything in wherever you find yourself doing. And also, you talk about saying those words. I was smiling because, especially in the development work, it's difficult not to multitask. It's very difficult because there are so many things that you need to cover, and you can't say, I am just restricted to this and I don't have to do this and I don't have to do, even though these things are good. Actually, if you're focused on something and you're doing it wholeheartedly, I think you give in your best and you'll be able to be very productive in that area. But you find out that in our development, I mean, in the developing world now, and then in the kind of work we do, humanitarian work, most times you have to multitask. If you say you're just going to do just what you are supposed to do, again, a lot of things will be hanging, and things like that will not be done. And you also talked about meals. Yes, that is good to sometimes, put times, where you can just come back to check meals and all of that. But again, sometimes it also affects the kind of work you do, because there are meals that will come, because most of the things you do are not physical, they are online. And sometimes they send messages for you to actually do and then work on or take action on those things. And if you don't check mails at intervals, sometimes maybe there's an information that you need to pass on for something important, not just urgent, but important. And then because you didn't check within that period, you find out that you're left behind, and you don't get a message or a call to like sometimes remind you, oh, I send a mail, go check your mail and all of that. So sometimes you just have to check those mails at interval to see if there are some things you need to attend to urgently. As much as I know that all of these things are very, very important, and but then how do we do this in especially work that is not, it's not like you're doing your personal work to say, okay, I'm going to keep this in check. Even people doing their personal work now, you find out that they're trying to meet up certain deadlines, they're trying to meet up certain things, they have a target. So you find them overdoing work and all of that to be able to meet a target. So I'm trying to see how we can work around this, be able to prioritize and then put things in place, as it should be done. I hope it will do. And then you talked about your passion actually is very, very important. Passion is what keeps you driving. It's what makes you keep doing things you do. Anything you're not passionate about, you find out that you don't have interest in it, and you don't perform well in what you are not interested in. And then you find out that if when you're doing something that is of interest to you, even though the what you call it now, the profits of what you get is not that, it's not too much, but because it's your passion, there's this joy you find doing those things. You keep striving to do them, and keep doing them, and in it you can be successful as you keep doing them. So my own is that I appreciate this session, but I'm still trying to see how I can, we can actually put these things in place, and be able to work towards this thing that you're saying, because sometimes, honestly, it's not easy to just be straight and just say we're working like this, like this. So thank you. Maybe you give us one or two, I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. You were really following all through the discussion, just as you have mentioned. The issue of personal effectiveness is not something that just come with in a platter of gold. It's something that we need to invest a lot of time in. It's something that we need to be self-disciplined for us to achieve it. Now, let me start with the issue of the emails. Most of the emails you will always get that are very urgent, I will tell you that people will always call, maybe send you a message, oh, I've dropped a mail for you, please check it up. Like when I was outlining how to prioritize yourself, things that are important and are also urgent. And those are the things you need to do at that particular moment. If there is anything that is very important, there must always be a reminder from another source. For instance, if you want me to do something immediately that I don't need to even wait a minute, once you send me a mail, you are going to send me a WhatsApp chat, or you can even call me just as you always do, that, oh, I sent you a mail, please can you respond? Most of the mails we always attend to immediately. If you go through it, you will really understand that we can still shift that and do it later and concentrate on the things that are more important at that particular moment. So, but if you are already viewing it, there's no how you are going to shift it. So even the interval doesn't mean, oh, you have to access your mail until tomorrow, or let's say within a day, you have like an hour interval or 2 hours before you check your mail. Not just putting it in the front of your screen once anything just drop. And most of these ads at times, how they can be annoying. Whenever they just drop, they distract you at that moment. So in that aspect, it is always known that a mail that demand urgent attention and demand quick response, definitely the person is going to reach out to you. So if it is something that at least have an hour time before you can attend to them, it is going to fall in between the time you have already kept for yourself to always check out your mails. So just note that prioritizing here doesn't mean you have to wait. Okay, I have Mondays to check my mail. I have Wednesday. No, within the day, but just to have like, okay, I have a 5 minute, an hour interval before I can check my mail. I have 2 hours interval before I can check my mail. I don't think anything that is not too urgent that you are not reminded that, oh, please do this thing immediately within an hour, that thing can affect everything that you are doing. So in that particular angle, then in terms of a multitasking, yes, everybody will always demand you to multitask. Everybody, because people feel, oh, when I'm doing this thing, when I'm doing this thing, when I'm doing this thing. But our attention span, it is true that it can never, no matter how we human beings try that, okay, we will be doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this, our attention span can never focus on two things at a time. You cannot be eating and you are also, let's say, you are using your hands to be doing other things. You are not going to have full concentration. That is why you see that once you have divided yourself doing this, you tend to make much mistakes. And what happens? You make mistake, you keep adjusting it. You make mistake here, keep adjusting it. You make mistake here, keep adjusting it. Before you know, the time you should have just said, okay, let me use 2 minutes to do this one. When I'm done, use 2 minutes to do this one. When I'm done, use 2 minutes to do this one. In the end, you see that you use, let's say, 3 hours to do just 3 things because you were multitasking, you were doing this, doing that. So when I say don't multitask, it doesn't mean that, oh, I must come sit down here. I will just focus on this particular thing until everything is done. Then I'll wake up, close my book, go and start the other one. Everything can be there with you if it is in the office, but ensure you finish one, except you don't have the required information or the necessary resources to get it done at that moment, or it is not very important that you need to finish it. But anything that is very urgent to you, don't say, I want to multitask here, multitask here. Just give those few minutes, finish the first one that is of high priority, go to the second one, go to the next one. Because if you now say, oh, I am multitasking, you will realize that before you finish or while you are still multitasking, it's still going to be even more than the time you are supposed to use in doing one thing. Most of what these things are like, they are bitter truths that we will continue to tell ourselves, but we may be doing the other way. Why? Because that is what our current challenges really demand. But it is a gradual process. We will get there for us to understand how important it is for us to focus on a particular thing, because that is what makes us to get the best out of it. So I think I've responded to the 2 areas you needed response, except if I omitted anyone, you can let me know as well, or any other person can put in their voices in where they have more consent. Thank you.
Thank you, Obeten. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Okay. I think, do we still have other people that have questions or what they want to say concerning our discussion for today? We have more reactions or comments. Okay, in the absence of further comments or questions and even reaction as a whole, I want to once again thank you all. Is someone speaking? Okay, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to anchor this session, and it has come to reality as we have started. I hope that we will continue this same way, and definitely we are going to get there, because when we continue sharing knowledge like this, just as you people have said, most of all these things are not things we don't know. We know them, but we are just ignoring them. But constant reminders will make us understand that they are very important, and we don't need to just trash them away. We need to focus on them and ensure we get the best out of them. Nobody wants to make let's say nobody wants to make the smallest use of his or her resources. We want to make the best use of our resources, and personal effectiveness is what will guarantee us this. So once again, I want to thank all of you, and let us also prepare for the next session, which is going to take place next week, same time. That particular session is going to be anchored by the ED, who is going to take us on how to develop high performing teams. we are going to learn. I think that is going to be another interesting one, as everybody will plan to be available and also contribute whatever you have to. So thank you. As I will hand this time to the ED so that she can give us the closing remarks, and we can go off. Thank you once again, everyone.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Oh my goodness. That was so awesome. That was so awesome. Please, let's give him a big round of applause. Oh my goodness. Obeten, you have just wowed us. Thank God you're our personal development, organizational development facilitator. You're also our HR manager. So you make sure that we practice these things so our productivity levels can increase in the organization. Thank you. I think, as I already shared, these are all very important nuggets, very important tips for us to be able to, lead a healthy lifestyle. And when we are healthy and well, we feel well, we can, bring that into our workplaces. We can bring that into our communities, and we will be much better individuals. We will be much better neighbors. We'll be much better, family members, and it just helps us to live a much better, improved lifestyle. It helps us to increase our organizational productivity, and it helps us to, at the end of the day, make a higher impact on the clients that we're working with, or on the right holders that we are trying to uplift. So many things. I hope we can, in next week's session, before we start, or as we leave now, we should highlight, you should give us a little bit of homework. Since you haven't given, I will give all of us homework that by next week, at the start of the session, each person should share 5 tips that they have, gained from your session today. You've given us like 50 tips. So out of those 50, each person should choose just 5 that they implement during the course of the rest of this week and next week, up to when we meet. And then when we start a session, we will just, touch base on them, get feedback from each person. Okay, so on behalf of the organization and Obeten, I would like to, give us that little bit of homework. And then I'd like to thank you, Obeten, for initiating this leadership development process, personal, professional development, capacity building sessions for us. And I know that at the end, it's going to help our team to be much stronger and better coordinated, for us to be able to do our work and grow. So thank you, and have a great rest of the day, and see you next week, next Thursday, same time, with my topic on the list.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. So after the assignment, I wanted to share the slide with everybody, but I will not share now until next week meeting, when everybody might have done their assignment and the answer. Then I will now share the slide with everybody for further studies, if anybody wants to go through it. The slide is with me.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Okay, so we're good?
Yeah, we're good.